The Aldermanbury Declaration really spun out of concerns that a number have had over the drift in the industry for a number of years, lack of professionalism, too many scandals, and it came after the banking crisis where we saw what happened in that sector. And there were a lot of people talking about how we could make ourselves better for the future. And the Aldermanbury Declaration really spun out of a number of us getting together, from brokers, from insurers, from international brokers, from claims adjusters, just talking about what better would look like, how we could get better outcomes for our customers, how we could regain the trust of the public, how we could forestall mandatory regulation. And we came together within the CAI because that seemed to be the only independent body. And after a few meetings, we drafted what looked like to be a charter that if we could adhere to these improved principles, if we put trust and confidence of the public back on our agenda, if we put lifelong training and development into our staff, that we would have a better profession, we'd have a more trusted profession, and better outcomes for the customers, for our shareholders, and our people. So we launched a declaration. When we started the Aldermanbury Declaration, we had no idea where this would lead. We wanted to see some improvements. We engaged across the industry and we said, these are the principles. If we can adhere to them, in 2 or 3 years' time, there should be some tangible improvement. So we fixed a target end date for the December 2013. And frankly, our expectations have been wildly exceeded. 75% of the businesses that signed up for the declaration will meet or exceed the requirements by that date. If you'd asked at the outset, I suspect we've thought about 25% or 50% would have been realistic. And more significantly is that everybody involved in this have made considerable progress. Okay, some might not get over the line by December 13, but that wasn't the objective. The objective was to start a journey that lasted a long time to transform our profession into something better than it is today, and that will be ongoing. 5 years ago, before the Aldermanbury Declaration, I don't think professionalism, standards, ethics, lifelong learning was on the agenda of too many companies. We'd started to see some companies that had consistently performed well, had invested in training and development, that put professionalism and integrity high up their stakes, being more successful. We had seen that the way the business was currently moving did not feel to be sustainable. What we now see is many more people investing in training and development, many more people with professionalism on the agenda. We've seen organisations move through the Aldermanbury Declaration into charter status. We've seen the quality of graduates coming to our industry improve significantly. And more importantly, we've seen the graduates want to do more training and development. And we've seen initiatives start that are encouraging local businesses, local brokers, to join with training initiatives with the major insurers, because there's a gap that had opened up in there over the last few years. So I think there's been a fundamental change. I think most companies now realise that putting professionalism, higher standards, lifelong learning, ethics right at the centre of business will produce better outcomes for our customers, which will mean better outcomes for our business and better outcomes for our staff. When we launched the Aldermanbury Declaration, we fixed an arbitrary date of 2.5 years in the future, long enough for people to do some changes. And as we approach that date, I think whilst we're satisfied where we've got to, we do see this as a long-term journey that will carry on forever. Now, whether it needs to be the Aldermanbury Declaration, or something in its place, something needs to be there to keep the focus going. Some organisations don't need it. They've already got it all embedded. Other organisations do need some help. I think particular sectors like the retail sector, where personal lines, motor and household, where they're very different businesses to many others. And I think probably we need to do something more in that space, and maybe that's one of the things we'll look at in the future. The task force is still meeting, it's still talking about what takes place after December, and I'm sure we'll find some ways of moving this on.